Everyone has hobbies that people wouldn't expect for them to have, even if it's just one small thing that you like to do. And thanks to Demon Slayer's databook, we learned some pretty interesting ones, like did you know that Nezuko's favorite hobby is sewing, and that she even completely fixed Gyu's outfit after the final battle. For Zenitsu, who is still in massive debt, his favorite hobbies are gambling of Hanafuda cards, playing tabletop games, and later in his life, we know that Zenitsu became a writer who told insane fanfics of his life over the course of Demon Slayer. Inosuke's is pretty simple since his favorite hobby is a form of tag that Tanjiro taught him during their travels, and lastly for Genya, his secret hobby is raising and taking care of a bonsai tree that he probably keeps hidden from everyone to keep up his tough guy persona, but he also spends a lot of time polishing his Nichiren shotgun. Did you know that Kanroji Mitsuri's secret hobbies are that she loves to cook delicious meals in her downtime, and she's also gotten really good at a card game called Menko, played of cards that have faces of important demon slayers and even notable demons. For the win Hashira Sanemi, he's actually really into raising rhinoceros beetles, which are fairly popular in Japan since people like to look at their interesting designs or even use them for small-scale kaiju battles. And for Obanai, who we haven't seen much of yet in the anime, his secret hobby is reading Japanese poems and watching how human and animal-shaped candy is made. That's really weird. For Rengoku, when he was alive, he was a big fan of watching kabuki plays and sumo tournaments, and for the Sound Hashira, it's pretty funny because his hobbies are just going to hot springs of his wives and looking for lesser-known hot springs to take his wives. For the Mist Hashira from Season 3, his hobby is paper cutting and then origami, but he uses the origami and the papers that he cuts to make paper airplanes because he still is pretty childish, being the youngest pillar in the group. And from the Flower State, we have Kocho Shinobu, whose hobby is exchanging ghost stories, and Tsuyuri Kanao, who really just likes playing with soap bubbles all day. Did you know that Muzan's favorite hobbies are learning foreign languages, importing foreign goods, and studying newly invented machines? It seems like he was really into places other than Japan. For Upper Moon 2 Doma, his favorite hobby is drinking in bathhouses, which makes me wonder if he ever ran into Uzui on a cloudy, warm night. But for Han Tengu, his hobby, as cowardly as he seems, is stealing from people's houses, which is probably easier when he splits into his different clones. Finally, for Tamayo, her secret hobbies are reading books and raising flowers, and for Yushiro, his hobby apparently is Tamayo. Man, that guy's obsessed. For Akaza, his one and only hobby was training to perfect his master's fighting style and sharpen his blood demon art so that he could eventually challenge Upper Moon 1 to prove that he is in fact the strongest, which is a hobby that Akaza picked up from when he was alive. For Kokushibo, he's a big fan of playing Go, which is an intense strategy game you often see geniuses playing in other anime, showing that Kokushibo is probably quite the tactician. Zenitsu's fellow student Kaigaku shares the same hobby as him, being a massive gambler who would probably have a huge debt if he didn't just eat everyone whenever he loses. Lastly, we have Gyoko, whose hobbies include making more of his pots, which the databook tells us are actually called ko, which are ancient Chinese pots used for liquor storage that are often saved for weddings, as well as restructuring living things and creating new life forms from them, like we see him do in Season 3 with the swordsmiths and his weird fish.